Road and the collectors, 2 left lanes are closed.
Ready to take the big step? Call or visit SpenceDiamonds.com to book your virtual appointment.
I thought I was taking a picture.
Say yes. Do you remember the first time you rode your bike? You're doing great, son. The first time you went on a date.
You look so handsome.
Your first sport. Your first job. Welcome to the first, son. Your first drink. Your last drink. If you drink, please.
10 to 15 millimeters. Your overnight low tonight near 10 degrees.
Downtown Toronto this hour. Partly cloudy at 10, 680 news.
Tim was a man whose whole life.
Breaking news from Mississauga, where an entire shift at a Canada Post facility has been ordered to isolate for 10 days following a COVID-19 outbreak.
And it could lead to mail delays. 680's Karen Siolan joins us live with those details. Karen?
Scott, the massive Canada Post facility in Mississauga has been hit with another COVID-19 outbreak. 12 employees working at the Toronto Exchange office located at the Gateway plant have contracted COVID-19 in the last week. Now 80 workers on the afternoon shift are now isolating at home for 10 days. Canada Post says incoming international mail deliveries could face potential delays, but contingency plans are being adopted to minimize the impact. Paid leave provisions are in place for those forced to miss work. Now, Peel Public Health has also ordered the partial closure of a Brampton Canadian Tire distribution center with its new Section 22 order. Peel's top doctor, Lawrence Lowe, will update the situation at a news conference in the morning. Reporting live, I'm Karen Siolan.
And Canada has recorded its first death linked to a COVID-19 vaccine. A 54-year-old woman reportedly in good health who received the AstraZeneca vaccine. Here's 680's Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweetie.
The Quebec government is confirming a woman in her 50s has died when she developed an extremely rare blood clot after receiving the AstraZeneca vaccine. Officials say this is sad news. However, the number of blood clots reported that are possibly linked to the vaccine fall well within the risk rate that Canadians have been warned about, and the shot is still safe. Quebec's chief medical officer of health, Dr. Horacio Arruda, says the benefits far outweigh the risks.
We are sure we are preventing more deaths and more complications of the disease, even with that vaccine.
The chances of developing a blood clot after receiving the vaccine is between 1 in 100,000 and 1 in 250,000. But the risks of complications from COVID are far higher, and the risk of getting a blood clot from a hospital with the virus is 1 in 5. More than 1 million AstraZeneca vaccines have been administered across the country. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
So today, the province reporting more than 3,200 cases of COVID-19. While
Canada,
ICU
number
capacity
285.
remains strained.
And our compliments, brand chicken dogs, too. Exact same.
Reinforcements to help Ontario's struggling hospitals are here, with the team from Newfoundland arriving in Toronto this afternoon.
We look forward to being here, and everyone has been so wonderful and so welcoming so far, and we can't wait to get to work.
That team will work with the University Health Network. Ontario is also getting help from the Canadian Armed Forces and the Red Cross. Meanwhile, 3,265 new COVID-19 cases today, the smallest daily increase in almost 3 weeks. 2,336 people are in Ontario hospitals being treated for the virus, more than double what it was at the start of the month. 875 of those patients in the ICU, a majority of them needing ventilators. I'm Irene Frecklett. The back and forth continues between the Ford and Trudeau governments over who should cover paid sick days.
Instead of starting its own paid sick day program, the Ford government today offered to boost the amount of money paid from the federal program to $1,000 per week, up from the current $500. But the federal government said no. Christian Freeland's office telling 680 News that it won't play along until the provincial government mandates sick days in this province. Labour Minister Monty McNaughton responding to the federal finance minister.
Look, I'm encouraged, quite frankly. This is the first time that they've indicated that they want to talk to us. I look forward to engaging them this afternoon to get to work on behalf of Ontario workers.
The NDP's Andrea Horvath.
His optimism is very unfounded. When I read that letter, in short, it said, when hell freezes over, we're going to fix your problem.
Richard Southern, 680 News.
Hamilton police say it was a family dispute that led to a double stabbing that left a woman and her husband dead and their son charged with second-degree murder. Here's 680's Phil Martino.
A 67-year-old man was found suffering from stab wounds in the apartment where he lived with his family Monday afternoon.
Totally agree with you. Surge capacity is one of the basic principles of emergency management. We knew going into a pandemic that we should have been preparing for it. Surge capacity is people, infrastructure, equipment, and supplies. And so let's talk about the people. We have recently retired people. We have people that are just about to graduate, and we could graduate early. We have people that have chosen other careers halfway through their career that we could call back. There's many ways that you get surgery.
No, dude, I used to do that surgery stuff. Now I'm a surfer.
Capacity, but at the same time, part of the problem is we're sending perfectly healthy people home because they may have been exposed to someone with COVID. And if you read the non-pharmaceutical interventions guides that were written well in advance of this pandemic, that's one of the things you do not do. You don't send exposed people home, you only send sick people home. So part of the reason why Ontario and other provinces are struggling with having enough people in their hospitals is they keep sending cohorts of healthy people home.
Yeah, and you know, they're saying the next couple of weeks are going to be pretty tough, and there's no question.
If you're a frontline health worker, there's literally no point to taking that 14 days over and fucking over. There's no point. There's no fucking point, because the first minute, the first day you get back, you're working with another sick person. There's literally no point to that. If you get sick, and you know for sure, then on this one, this guy's correct, eh?
It seems the rest of the world is opening up and Canada is locking down harder. And so maybe there's a lesson there that locking down harder has done nothing to stop the spread of this disease. And study after study has shown it. Peer-reviewed science says, at best, it has a minimal impact on the spread of the disease and on the number of deaths. We're doing the wrong thing, expecting different results over and over.
And so with the military coming in, and I don't know what the numbers are. I mean, I really kind of did a little bit of math, and I came up with like what? So they're sending 25 to 30 people to Ontario. I mean, maybe they're sending hundreds more, but is it going to do anything?
You would have to ask the doctors in the hospitals that. The first thing I would do is recall all the healthy people that have been sent home to self-isolate because they may have been exposed, and until they're symptomatic, have them working in the hospitals. That's where you're going to get the large number, but all those other ways that we just talked about in surge capacity. And again, it's 13 months into this pandemic. Why are we having this discussion, and why is the military needed
Those are
at this time?
authentic raindrops.
I understand it last March.
It's the acid rain. That'll eat right through this can, eh? If I leave it there for another 5 minutes.
You know, now they're also talking about diverting vaccine supplies. So if you don't have cases in your community,
greenhouse warming effect.
You could be pushed back. Obviously, we've got to get people vaccinated in the hot zones. Is this at least the right approach?
Well, to me, vaccines are the red herring of it all, and I'm a very pro-vaccine person.
That's one good thing about having canned goods all over your house. I think it's slow bullet now.
Under the age of 50, COVID is simply not deadly to you. People have died of it, but it is the same sort of level as if you had influenza. Over the age of 50, targeting the people that are seniors.
That's not true. That was the fucking argument all this time, to vaccinate everybody and to make it mandatory. Hey, you notice how in hospitals everywhere they never used to wear masks, some of them? Some people wore masks and lots of people didn't. The only difference was the person not wearing a mask had a flu shot. That doesn't help me.
The deaths in Sweden were in their seniors, and yet they're 27th in Europe overall. And so they've done, you know, per deaths per capita. But 154 people under the age of 50. Why are we locking down our healthy youth at all?
Because we don't have a plan. That's why. On that note, I'm up against the clock. I'll have you on again. Thanks so much. I appreciate your time.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
That is former Colonel David Redmond. He says to call him Dave, but I can't take that title away. At your own point on Global News Radio.
And now it's time to go out and take a look at the roads with shopper traffic. Here's Ari Rabinovich.
Well, the highways are looking good across the board. No major delays or problem spots. We're just looking at a little construction here and there, but nothing really causing any major congestion right now. Over this.
Hello, mouse.
Be shutting down all of the express lanes, probably out to about Mississauga Road, just approaching there. So just a heads up on that. We'll confirm
so if you're going that way, a few
minutes.
Drive faster.
No access to the West 407 and Fort Erie bound on the QEW over the Burlington Skyway.
I think they use this one to stop an armed robbery.
A message from
I think
Canadian
so.
Blood
Like
Services.
a bullet
Are you
bounce
between the ages
like
of
this one.
17
Bam.
and 35? Join the Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry today. Visit blood.ca/stem cells. Now the forecast, here is Denise Andriacci.
Chance of showers and some isolated thunderstorms could develop as well overnight tonight and through morning and afternoon tomorrow. Temps a little better tomorrow, but it does come with that wet weather for most of the day on and off. Thursday, periods of rain, 10 to 15 millimeters, and we're still sitting in a cooler air mass below seasonal near 12 degrees. Your overnight low tonight, 10.
Downtown Toronto this hour, partly cloudy at 10 degrees, at 9, and seeing some rain coming into the city over at Pearson International Airport. 6:80 news time, 9:43.
According to Toronto COVID-19 stats, members of the Latin community are at a significantly higher risk to contract COVID-19. The data shows they're around 7 times more likely to catch the virus. Giancarlo Fluker is programs director at the Center for Spanish-Speaking Peoples.
A lot of folks in our community and a lot of our clients that we serve are in pretty much sectors that are dominated by either maintenance, manufacturing, construction. So pretty much jobs that you cannot really telecommute or really have a proper lockdown in place for folks to prevent from being exposed to COVID-19.
Fluker says having health and safety information available in Spanish can help inform community members on the necessary precautions needed to fight COVID-19. Your headlines and sports next.
6:80 news time, 9:43.
With all that's going on these days,
What on these days, gal?
Did you know?
Dash on
Oh, no, that's what I
and free contactless delivery directly to your door with fresh, fun, and delicious recipes for every palate in your household. We're making mealtime easy.
When you bring my pizza, you got to take your contact lenses out before you come to the door.
MakeGoodFood.ca to redeem your offer with the gift code GF80. Offer valid for a limited time for new members only.
In Canada, on average, 2 employees are killed every day in work-related incidents. Many more are injured or...
You hear that? Just work, just business, every 12 hours. Imagine that. One on every, shift, I guess.
A day to remember those killed or injured while working.
It's also Guide Dog Day.
And commit to a safer workplace. A message from the membership of UA Local 853 Sprinkler Fitters of Ontario. Visit ualocal853.org.
Yeah. We could argue back and forth. Some people don't want us to have sprinklers in these buildings and so forth. I think we should have sprinklers or some type of carbon dioxide system, something. And floor drains. How come no floor drains in apartment buildings? Think about that. You spill water, it's going to go through every fucking apartment on the way down if you spill enough of it. Why don't we have floor drains?
12 employees.
But these balconies on some of these buildings, any rain that hits it just drains straight out. It'll come out in like a perfect stream down onto the sidewalk.
Death linked to extremely rare blood clots from the AstraZeneca.
The air conditioning, perfectly pure H2O water, that gets dumped down into the sewer drain, then that overflows into the storm drain. Yeah, that's how we do things here. Mix everything up.
$10 million to the Indian Red Cross as COVID cases surge in that country. 360,000 new infections reported today alone. You can donate as well at redcross.ca.
For these stories and more, at 680news.com.
I'm a Red Cross Indian, so I'm not sure if they're talking about us or not.
It's the Vladdy Show.
Canadian military technology that's Velcro loop. That's why it's got the carrying handle on top like a C7.
Yeah, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had...
There was a complaint against General Vance. Nobody knew that it was a Me Too complaint. We did not have information on what was the nature of that complaint, of that allegation.
Oh, and you can bet they didn't want to know.
So those chicken dogs used to be, well, much. They used to be 77 cents. They went from $1.49 to $2. Either $1.99 to the 2 normal ones, which all come from the same place. The halal used to be $2.49, and smaller packages now it's $2 in the same size pack. Yeah, it's all coming out of the same place. the thing about halal for me is the knife is to be so sharp and the cut so clean that the animal doesn't feel the pain. I like that. That's what it's supposed to do.
2018, a senior advisor to Trudeau felt the complaints were serious enough that he went to the Prime Minister's office. We know that his Chief of Staff, Katie Telford, knew about the allegations, and of course, no one bothered to tell the Prime Minister, and no one apparently bothered to look into it. And then, of course, Global News, which has been covering this story from the beginning, did an access to information request, which is how you find the goods. And of course, emails show very clearly that the Prime Minister's office was fully aware of sexual harassment allegations while looking into or suggesting that there be a probe. And yet, despite all that, they went ahead and extended his contract, not to mention gave the man a raise. And so what did the Prime Minister know? We just didn't know it was a Me Too thing. There's the difference, right? Wrong. James Bazan is the MP for Selkirk Inner Lake Eastman. He's also the Conservative defense critic. Joining me now. Good to have you.
Thanks for having me on the show.
It was a very entertaining question period. You certainly got a lot of ammunition, after that press conference today. But how can it possibly be denied that the Prime Minister knew nothing? I mean, he knew there was an allegation. He was aware of it. His whole entire office, including the most important person in his office, Katie Telford, certainly knew there were serious sexual harassment allegations. One of his senior advisors knew it was serious enough that he had to go to the Prime Minister's office. Everyone knew how serious it was, but the Prime Minister himself.
That's called plausible deniability.
It is just so unbelievable that Trudeau and his office expect Canadians to seriously believe that he didn't know when everybody around him knew, as you just so clearly pointed out. And the memo itself, which we know now originated from the Privy Council's office from Janine Sherman, was written to Elder Marquez, who we had a committee last week, as well as one redacted name, who we now know as Katie Telford. So you can't tell me that the Prime Minister, who likes to say that he's a feminist, and that he has a very pro-feminist agenda as a government, didn't act upon this. And so it is completely unbelievable that he expects Canadians to take his word that he had no idea.
Especially when you look back to that time when Me Too was literally taking out everybody. It was a very big headline, a very big movement at that point. And so the military ombudsman, I mean, you look back, he takes these allegations directly to Harjit Sajjan. He goes to show them saying, I got the evidence. And Harjit Sajjan basically says, I don't want to know it. I don't want to see it. I'm out of here. And so at what point is the government, being the Prime Minister or the Prime Minister's office, obligated to report this, I guess, beyond the Privy Council? Because they're telling us, and he said it today, that that the concerns were with the Privy Council. But what obligation did the Prime Minister, or at least the Prime Minister's office, have in 2008 if the allegations were of sexual harassment and they knew?
In 2018, so 3 years ago. They knew about this and did nothing. And as you already mentioned, they not only ignored and turned a blind eye to these very serious allegations against Jonathan Vance, but they gave him a $50,000 raise and extended his contract for another 3 years and left him in charge of Operation Honor, which was the military's exercise in trying to stomp out sexual misconduct. Of course, nothing happened, and as we've seen in recently released documents through questions on the order paper, it shows that every third day somebody in the Canadian Armed Forces is sexually assaulted over the past 5 years. Close to 600 members have been living with sexual assault and sexual harassment and other forms of sexual misconduct. That is catastrophic in this organization, and it's been poisonous from the top. And so by leaving Jonathan Vance in this position has tainted all lower-ranking members in the Canadian Armed Forces. They've lost trust and confidence in their leadership, and they have no respect at all for the government. So when you have Justin Trudeau saying, "I don't blame me, I didn't know," which nobody's buying, and you have Harjit Sajjan as Deputy Minister of Defense who pushed away the evidence instead of acting upon it, really gets down to the core of how are we going to make change when you have people like this at the top who have been trying to cover up these allegations for the past 3 years.
I mean, I'm going to assume that maybe they were so distracted in trying to destroy Vice Admiral Mark Norman that they just didn't have time to deal with this. But nonetheless, that was also going on at the same time. But the Trudeau government, as you...
And Mark Michael actually talked about that because they were dealing with the Mark Norman issue, and they knew that there were going to be charges laid, which happened on March the 8th in 2018, a week after these allegations came to light. We also know that the Prime Minister himself was dealing with the story that came out about that happened in Kelowna when he was a younger person, about the reporter that accused him of groping. That happened in January, at the end of January 2018. In February 2018, they had a sexual misconduct investigation and one of their staff in the Prime Minister's office that was let go. So all of this was happening at the same time, but why would they let the highest ranking soldier in the Canadian Armed Forces and with the highest security clearances in the Canadian government walk free? I don't want to taint the process. Due process is awarded to both victims as well as the perpetrators, and so in this case, Jonathan Vance, is entitled to a fair process. Let's see what happens with the investigation, and if any charges are brought forward, we don't want to taint that. We're going to concentrate instead on what's happened. How do we fix it, and where we go from here to ensure that the women who serve in the Canadian Armed Forces can do so with confidence, that they can resource trust and morale within the forces.
Good stuff. He's the author, right?
They can go to work and be safe.
Yeah,
Sophia Craig-Daly sitting in a park.
She said she has no expectation to have justice in this, but she is speaking out so that others will be able to serve and feel protected. I appreciate your time on this, and certainly we'll continue watching this and talking about it.
Anytime. Glad to come back.
That is James Bizan, who is the defense critic for the Conservative Party, and so we will see. I highly doubt. I want to see it. I'd prefer it be on a Friday morning, but I'd love to see what Katie Telford may have to say about this or not. So we'll see what happens, because every day we are learning a new little wrinkle out of this. And remember, SNC started as a slow burn, and then it picked up speed. The difference, however, and I think this is I think the Mark Norman scandal is probably the biggest, because I thought that was a really disgusting one. But this is a big scandal. Whether or not COVID is too noisy right now for people to really get into this, I'm not sure where it will go. But
they're struggling to find an audience.
Is it them or is it us? It's the question being asked by groups that hand out awards for TV, music, and movies. Some feel with the spread of cable, satellite, and streaming, audiences are fractured these days, with few overwhelmingly...
More ways to watch, and there's not why everybody can watch if they don't want to. The only difference is they didn't used to have a mechanism to know for sure. Now they know for sure, and it upsets them to find out the truth.
Represents a 56% drop from last.
Based on the 1 out of 30 million people that has a Nielsen box, right? Does that thing even fucking work? Who the fuck knows? But on the internet, you can't bullshit. You could bullshit, but if you just said it correct, this is a count of how many people watched it. You know for a fact how many people watched it. They don't like that. They don't like that at all. They like telling us it's the most popular thing, so we will all go and watch it. Notice, you watch it. Ask everybody around about it. 9 out of 10 people didn't watch it. Then you say, "Oh, but it's the one. Everybody's watching it." It's like people that argue with me when I say feminized seeds won't all pop female. Oh, but it says they will on the package. They argue.
Offering testing for
They tell me
COVID-19.
that the seeds don't all pop female, and they argue and say, "But that's what it says on the package." Well, I don't know how to explain
SH Health offers same-day PCR and rapid COVID testing. And the best part, you're in and out in just a few minutes. Go to shhealth.ca to book an appointment today at one of our 5 GTA clinics. SH Health, protecting communities, companies, and families.
680, is that 956?
Now your business report with Richard Severn.
Good evening. Netflix is going to chill in Toronto. It has picked our city for its Canadian head office. Netflix says it hasn't settled on the exact location yet, but says it will hire between 10 and 15 employees to start in the office. You know, Netflix has 21 offices around the world, and the company's been operating in Canada for 10 years, has 7 million users here. So a lot of people wondered why it's taken this long, but certainly good news. Netflix picking Toronto for its Canadian head office. Netflix stock was down 1% today, $505.55 US the share. Big earnings paid in from Google after the bell. Alphabet with some very strong top and bottom line results. As we hear from Anthony Acoli with TD Bank.
Revenue up 34%. Again, riding that online spending surge, Dave. The earnings came in at $26.29 a share, well above the $15.82 expected by Wall Street. Again, they're riding this online surge with YouTube ad revenue up nearly 50% year over year. And according to the Pew report, YouTube usage is up 81% among U.S. adults. That's well above the 73% back in 2019. So very strong report from Google's parent Alphabet today.
And Alphabet stock hit a record high in the extended trade. Microsoft's third quarter sales rose 19%, lifted by very brisk sales of PC computers. Microsoft stock, which has been a high flyer, was a little bit lower in the extended trade. And after 4 straight quarters of sales declines, Starbucks returned to growth in the latest quarter. The company reporting that sales were up 11% to $6.7 billion, still a little bit shy of Wall Street's expectations. Visa said its second quarter profit was down 2%. The TSX up just 4 points today. The Nasdaq was up just 3. S&P 500 down a point. The Nasdaq fell 48. Canadian dollar at 80.58 cents US. This is 680 News.
Auto Gavel, the newest way to sell your car, truck, ATV, snowmobile, RV, boat, motorcycle, and even equipment right from your home or business using your cell phone. Simply download the free Auto Gavel app from the App Store. Easy to use. Auto Gavel posts whatever you're selling so people and dealers can bid on your vehicle. You don't have to move it until it's sold. Download for free. And for a limited time, sell for free. Get Auto Gavel today. That's Auto Gavel.
Share more with family with CIBC Global Money Transfer. We know achieving your goals in Canada happens with the support of family. With CIBC Global Money Transfer, we have zero.
Sale is on now. Save up to 25% off.
In Bacall were Hollywood's power couple, the center of numerous Hollywood events. Even after Bogart's death in 1957, the couple remained immensely popular with moviegoers. The duo epitomized grace, class, and what it meant to be infatuated with love.
On 680 News.
Right now in downtown Toronto, it is 10 degrees, some rain falling. At Pearson, 9 degrees and rain. Oakville, 7 degrees, mostly cloudy. Milton, 8 degrees and rain. Brampton, 9 degrees and overcast. Richmond Hill, a few clouds, 10 degrees. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. 680 News time, 10 o'clock.
Toronto's #1 launch for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News.
It's Tuesday, April 27th. Good evening. I'm Scott Burnett.
And I'm Caitlin Lee. Here's what's making news this hour.
Peel Public Health is shutting down a shift at the massive Canada Post facility in Mississauga after 12 employees tested positive in the last week.
A Quebec woman becomes the first person in Canada to die after an extremely rare side effect from a COVID vaccine. Officials insist the shots are still safe and the benefits still far outweigh any risks.
A 34-year-old Hamilton man will face second-degree murder charges in connection with the stabbing deaths of his mother and father.
A motorcyclist had serious injuries after a collision in Mississauga this evening near Eglinton and Metcalfe.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. putting on a show for the Blue Jays tonight, and the Raptors took on the Nets in Tampa. Sports at 15.
TSX edges higher earnings in from Google and Microsoft, and Pfizer reportedly testing a pill that could become the first home treatment for COVID-19. Business at 26.
680 News time, 10:01.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones at the traffic center. Good evening, Camille Wilson.
Good evening, Scott and Caitlin. This report is brought to you by Search Kings. Right now, we're looking at construction out on our major routes. No delays through any of these construction zones. zones, but heads up drivers if you are out there. On the eastbound 401, the ramp to Dixon is closed off. At Allen, the collectors, the left lane is taken up as well. And then at Morningside and the Express, we have 2 left lanes that are blocked off for some maintenance. On the westbound 401 at Markham Road and the collectors, a left lane is gone. And then at Avenue Road and the collectors, we have 2 left lanes. At Allen and the Express, a right lane there is taken up. And from Mavis to approaching Mississauga Road, all express lanes are closed off again, and that is for some repairs. Traveling out Fort Erie bound QEW. Over the Burlington Skyway, we have 2 right lanes there that are blocked off for construction. Looking for better results from your Google advertising? Switch to Search Kings, winner of the Google Premier Partner Customer Satisfaction Award. Your search is over. Let Search Kings help your customers find you. Your next report is at 10:11, and now with your forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Chance of scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms through the overnight tonight and also through the morning and afternoon for tomorrow. Temps will climb a little bit in pockets of the GTA, but we're still sitting in a cooler air mass when we compare ourselves to southwestern Ontario, which had some of the warmest air in the country.
Where the fuck are we
today.
then? South Central, right?
April with some cooler conditions. Your overnight low tonight near 10.
We compare ourselves to South, so we're in South Central.
10 degrees.
They won't say lower east side of Toronto, and they won't say South Central Ontario. They won't say it. They don't like the ring. They don't like it.
Issued a partial closure of a Canada Post facility in Mississauga due to a COVID-19 outbreak.
680's Karen Seolin joins us live with more details on this story. Karen.
Caitlin, Peel Public Health has ordered Canada Post to shut down an afternoon shift at its Gateway plant. The shift is in the Toronto Exchange office, where a dozen employees have tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 7 days. The shutdown is impacting about 80 workers who are now isolating at home for 10 days. Canada Post says they will be offered some sort of compensation. The Crown Corporation is preparing contingency plans in the hopes mail services will not be impacted. But if you're expecting an overseas letter or package, it could be delayed. 5 other businesses, including the Canadian Tire Distribution Centre in Brampton, have been partially closed as part of the new Section 22 order. These closures are imposed when workplaces have 5 or more infections within 2 weeks. Reporting live, I'm Karen Seolin.
Please, will you help me, Shannon? Go there, talk to Kathy. Convince her that she need never go back to that ship again. Please, I'll give you anything.
But you want it back. Your daughter's in trouble with Norton. I'll try to straighten her out.
You don't understand, Shannon. I'm a rich man.
When I bring Kathy back, you'll give me a box of lump sugar?
You're not too loud, Paul. You disturb our boss.
Tell Greg I want to see him.
Our boss sleeps. His brain goes all the time. He needs rest.
Wake him up, Mickey. I've got something for him.
I don't wake up, boss, till he asks me.
Wake me up, Mickey. Who wants me?
It's your croupier, Paul. The wheel jockey says he's got something. He can keep it to himself till you get your share of sleep, boss.
Let him in.
Our boss says for me to let you in. I'll let.
Well, you have something for me, Paul? Well, give it to me, but make it tender because I just woke up.
I was in Shannon's place a little while ago.
And you had fun. Rub my neck, Mickey. There's a crick in it.
Yeah, thanks, boss.
Oh, that's good. That's very good.
There was someone else there. Kathy Cameron's father.
Now the other side, Mickey.
He's sick with worry about his daughter. Wants Shannon to take her away from him.
Those 3 must have made a jolly group.
They were so wrapped up in it, Shannon, his girl, Cameron, they thought all I wanted was to buy a pack of cigarettes.
You're a good boy, Paul. The thing of many talents.
Shannon's coming out here to the boat. I thought you'd need to know.
Paul's a good boy, isn't he, Mickey?
I'm better for you, boss. He can't do the things for you I can do. He can't.
Of course he can't, Mickey. Nobody can. That's why I keep you around, isn't it?
See? That's why he keeps me around. That's why.
Sure, Mickey. So they want
There's
to take
nothing
Kathy
wrong
away
with
from
knowing where you fit in. It works for you.
Because I fixed it that way, didn't I, boss? Mm-hmm. Because you threw yourself in front of her car because she thought she'd killed you. That's why you've got to keep out of her sight, because for as long as she thinks you don't exist, she belongs to me, till I use her up. Her and her daddy's money. And so clean. She loses it to me at the roulette table. Clean and legitimate.
Boss, this Shannon could...
No one's going to spoil it, Mickey. Not a well-paying corpse like you, I give you my word.
Look through the porthole, Greg. That's Shannon's boat coming alongside.
Go hold his hand, Paul. Then bring him to me. I want to tell him how he can't part two sweethearts like Kathy and me. You do me and my gambling ship great honor, Mr. Duval, Mr. Shannon.
Your boy brought us to you. We asked for Kathy Cameron.
He didn't want to deny me the pleasure of meeting you two. He has standing orders to deliver to me first the illustrious, the renowned.
You see, Slate, I keep telling you that's what we are. You never believe me. Go on, Mr. Norton. You were saying...
That I would have shuddered if you came aboard and deprived me of your sons.
Gee, you're smooth, Mr. Norton. The way you talk. The waxed mustache. That's the only word for you. Smooth.
So you saved yourself a shudder, Norton. Now, is it all right if we go find Kathy?
She may not care for you disturbing her at the gambling table. Now, what did you want with Miss Cameron?
We're going to take her back to Havana with us, Norton, because her father's lonesome for her. He's a funny guy. He thinks his daughter ought to spend more time at home. Any objections? I only asked you because you stuck your nose in.
No objections. I only fear for you.
Do you think you can stop me?
I know I can. However, Miss Cameron is in the casino on A deck. And please sign the guest book. I want something to remember you by.
Number 12 in the box. Black page, 12 page. Miss Cameron?
What?
Mind if we talk to you? Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Place your bets. Mind if we talk to you?
Go away.
Oh, I can't do that, Miss Cameron.
Why don't you two try the poop deck? It's a good place to jump from. Jump from? Oh, your preposition is dangling, Kathy. Your father must have picked the wrong finishing school for you.
My father? Oh, you made me miss my bet.
Sailor.
I know. You want me to kibitz that hot game of old maid over there.
Come on, Kathy. Let's get some air, you and I.
You're hurting my arm.
It's a device I use to make myself clear. Come on.
I made a suggestion to you before concerning the poop deck. Or if that doesn't suit you, why don't you try it from this rail?
Now, you're just a kid, Kathy. You've got to grow up a little more before that kind of talk becomes you.
Oh, you think I'm a kid?
19, 20. Kids that old and women over 40 use lipstick the way you do.
Another suggestion. A girl 19 is better for you. Want to know why? I'll put my arms around you and show you.
Hey, take it easy.
And hold you. Okay, Norton.
Yes!
Did you notice, Miss Cameron? I only had to do it once, right in the back of the neck.
Get him out of here.
I think I'll give him back to Miss Duval. Don't you think I'm considerate?
Mr. Slate, he stood on moonlit deck. Man from behind hit him in he neck. Lady Sailor, she bring from ship Blue Moon. Her winnings to date, Mr. Slate in a swoon. Because they tried to do one very good deed. Bring daughter back to father who cried his need. He waved at them a face full of woe. Mr. Slate, he said, don't cry, I go.
You see, Slate, you didn't make such a hobby of helping people. This never would have happened to you.
That's just what a fellow needs at a time like this, Sailor. A kind word.
Now you are hurt, Mr. Slate, because you love a good deed too much?
Yeah. I live for the moment when I can bring a wandering girl back to her daddy.
Let Norton have it. I don't think I could go through this again.
You go through it.
Your neck is my neck. I read that once in a poem.
I'm going back to the Blue Moon, Sailor. Mend me real nice because I got some things to do there. I want to look good.
If you go back, they'll kill you. Those were Norton's parting words to me. He said, tell him not to come back. Next time, I'll give him to you in pieces. You're a complicated man, Slate. I can never put you back together again.
Give me another whiff of your smelling salts, sailor. That ringing noise is back in my skull.
You're a ham bone. That's the telephone. Shannon's place, Sailor Duval.
Mr. Shannon, please.
Oh, uh-huh. It's for you, Slate, the man who grows sugar. He's in a tizzy. Anyway, he makes sounds like a tizzy.
I'll let you know. Slate Shannon speaking.
Forget it, Mr. Shannon. Forget ever I'll call on you. I don't need you any longer.
Where are you, Mr. Cameron?
I'm at home. But you're not to come here. You're not to...
Give me a clean shirt, sailor. I've got to see a man who doesn't need me.
Shannon, I told you...
What's this all about, Cameron?
Did anyone follow you here?
I didn't bother to look. Let's go inside.
If they follow you...
Inside. Norton's got you scared too, huh?
You don't know what you're doing coming here.
Who did he threaten? You or your daughter?
Get out of here.
You made a big noise when I first met you, Cameron. Now all I hear is chicken. Your daughter needs help. What happened to all your worry about her?
I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
You're kidding.
Oh, let go of me.
You're going to calm down. There. That's better. Now, don't let us throw you. It's just a matter of age and condition.
They'll kill her.
Now, they won't kill her. That's not what you're afraid of.
Yes, yes.
They're taking all your money through her. Killing you would be a safer investment. That way, they'd get the money a lot faster.
I don't want to die.
Neither do I. You started something with me. Now it's got to be finished.
Now back to Bull Venture. Our stars Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, and the second act of our story.
I give you 2 words, Slate. You're crazy.
Yeah, I get psychotic when I'm beat over the head. Now look, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Go get some sleep.
I've gotten better prizes than you on the bottom of a Cracker Jack box.
Why don't you do what I tell you?
Look, if you tried to handle the Bold Venture now, you'd drive her into the rocks. In your condition,
You got a condition.
The man said he'd kill you if you came up to the Blue Moon again. He said that Aren't you going to help me aboard our boat? All right. Sometimes I wonder why I bother. I had a spaniel once who had better manners than you. Ooh. Talk to me, Slate.
Out of the way. Come on. Now you're going to give me trouble.
Who are you talking to?
Out of the way. Taylor.
What do you want?
Come here. Look at the motor wires all over the place.
Someone's come aboard.
Who's there? I can't see your face. Who is it?
But you can see my gun, can't you?
Who are you?
How about you, Mr. Ball? Can you see it?
Move it a little to the left. Thanks. My, it's pretty in the moonlight.
If you get that boat fixed, take it north. If you take it south, you might get too close to the blue moon. Then everything will blow up in your face.
I've been pushed around long enough. I've got about...
The next time, I'll put the bullet into your head, Shannon, instead of into the woodwork of your boat. Want to try? No? See? You can be sensible. Good night, mechanics.
You do yourself nicely on my money, Paul. Without much on it. The decor, excellent taste. And now that I've performed the amenities, you have something for me?
It'll take Shannon a long time to fix his boat.
And you convinced him not to annoy us anymore?
It's hard to tell with a man like Shannon.
Yes, you're ever so right. And it's up to you, my dear Kathy. If Shannon should discover you're a murderess, a hit-and-run killer, they'd take you away from me.
And that would make you desolate, wouldn't it?
You wanted me to do something? Just tell me. Don't claw at me like a fat cat.
Emotions have their way with you, don't they, my dear? All right. Call Shannon's place. Ask for Miss Duval. Tell her to come here because you need her so desperately. In 10 minutes. You do need her, Kathy. So you won't waste your precious life away in prison.
Shannon's place, Sarah Duval speaking.
This is Kathy, Miss Duval. Kathy Cameron. Is Mr. Shannon there?
No, he's sitting up with a sick boat. He's not
Good. Listen, you must come here alone. 16 Paseo Gomez, apartment 12. In 10 minutes, if it matters to you whether I live.
Well, that's the other side of town. How do I get there this time of night? There are no cabs. What do I do? Wave a wand over a pumpkin?
Oh, you must. Please, find a way.
Well, maybe King Moses will lend me his jalopy. What's wrong, Kathy? Why do you want...
In 10 minutes, Mr. Val. The way you wanted it, Greg?
Your choice of words was exquisite, my dear. And it is a matter of whether you live.
Hey, watch out! You crazy fool! Look, I didn't see you. Oh, you're hurt, aren't you? I'll go get help.
Hey there.
Oh, my, glad to see somebody. This man
I saw what happened.
Get a doctor, will you?
Your car was weaving from side to side. You ran this man down.
What are you talking about? He just ran out in front of a car.
You tried to run away. If I hadn't stopped you, you'd have just left the man lying there.
You know something?
You don't have anything to worry about as long as you listen to me.
You know something? Now your voice fits your faith. First it was your faith. You spin the wheel on the blue moon. And your voice happened a little while ago, aboard our boat. Wait a minute.
It doesn't matter who I am. You hit that man.
Ouch! Hey, you out of your mind, lady?
Did I pinch you too hard? You're supposed to be dead.
Hey, we got a clever one on our hands, Paul.
Yeah. She's done being clever. Throw her in the car, Mickey. The boss will tell you where to throw her after that.
Oh, this is
Welcome, Mr. Slate. I got coffee cooking for you in the kitchen.
Thanks, King. You didn't have to wait up for me.
What I have and have not to do, Mr. Slate, is my own affair. I go bring you coffee.
Oh, no coffee. Stay here, King. Sing to me. Right now, I need sleep.
I do not think sleep will come to you, Mr. Slate.
You just sit there and watch it.
It will not come because Miss Sailor is not here.
She wants to roam Havana this time, and I'd let her. I got other things on my mind.
2 hours ago, there came a phone call. Miss Sailor scribble address on part, borrow my auto. Here is the address. I think you better go look for her, Mr. Slate.
If you're afraid she looks gone with that heat, take $20 out of the register, King. That'll take care of it.
Because the call came from Miss Kathy Cameron.
Huh?
I told you sleep would not come, Mr. Slate.
You banging on the right door, mister.
Yeah, banging on the right head. Now we'll drag you inside. Come on, up on your feet. Get with it, Buster. Start talking.
What's the matter with you?
Up. This is where we were 10 seconds ago. Start talking.
Not gonna get you anyplace, Sharon.
You know my name, huh? That's for taking the liberty. What did you do with Sailor?
Blue Moon. She's there.
How come she's there? You don't answer me, Buster, because you happen to be fresh off the Blue Moon. You're the guy who spins the roulette wheel.
Tried to frame her. Didn't work.
How?
Make like hit and run. Blackmail. The little guy, Mickey, used to make a living at it. Run in front of the car, make out he's hurt. People get scared. Pay off.
Sailor was too smart.
Didn't bite.
Same gambit you pulled on Kathy Cameron, huh?
Get out of it, Shannon.
You know, for a guy who spins a roulette wheel all day, how come you keep one in your apartment?
Hobby.
Uh-huh. Hobby. And you'll enjoy this. I read where a croupier in Monte Carlo practiced and practiced. He got good. He put that ball in the black slot or the red slot almost every time he wanted.
You're fine grief.
He couldn't do it every time, but his average was great.
All right, all right.
Like you and Norton are doing to Kathy Cameron. Blackmailing her on a hit-and-run caper. She pays off by playing the wheel, loses money every night. Knows it's rigged against her and can't do anything about it.
Stealing money legal.
Uh-huh. Because I woke you from a deep sleep. I give it back to you. There we go. Your boat fire?
Take me your number, senor.
$5.
Not the right number. Frank Carlos with the get-boat.
$10 bucks.
Put your money where my hand be.
Here, $8 and change. Blue Moon, Skipper, she's anchored a few miles out.
First, I count the change.
Look, you.
You want the blue moon, senor? Then let me count the change. 97, 98, 99. Oh, here is the other penny. You almost didn't make it, senor. You want I should wait for you, senor?
Yeah, wait.
I give you a hand at the side.
Now, there's rope hanging down from the side. Just hold the end of it. I'm going up hand over hand. Now, pick a cabin, Shannon, and see how your luck is. Sailor. Sailor. Sailor.
Hey, it's the middle of the night.
Yeah, isn't it, though? I'll get back to you. Sailor,
That you, Slade?
let me in.
I can't. The door's locked.
You get a hairpin?
What's the matter? Night wind playing hard with your hair, too?
Slip it into the door.
All right, here. Where did you learn how to pick a lock?
A friend of mine taught me. Gee, that reminds me, I owe her a letter. I'll stay like this, Sailor. It's been too long since I felt your arm against my cheek.
Just think. All this while, there's only been a hairpin.
Get your hair up. I'll be back.
Make a mistake, Shannon. I'm going to find you in that corner room and kill you. I say you, Shannon. Well, I've got to hand it to you, Shannon. You tried. Too bad you had to die on a coal pile. You almost said...
Come on down to the coal pile with me. Start with this. I can still hear you. Can't hear you anymore now, Norton.
Slade, you all right?
Look, I spoiled a nice clean shirt you washed for me.
I'll wash your other one.
First, there's a couple of guys on this boat. I've got to collect them for the police.
What about Kathy?
She's got nothing more to worry about. Her father can get her.
Well, it happened again, Slade. You did your good deed, and you got your lumps for it. Don't you get tired of it.
Till the next time. Let's get out of here, sailor. There. She's all fixed, sailor. The last wire's in place. The whole venture's gonna run like a dream.
Fine. Where are we going?
I didn't say we were going anyplace. I just said the whole venture'd run like a dream. You want to hear it?
If it makes you happy.
All right. Wait till you hear that motor purr.
What kind of a dream does that sound like?
I had it running a minute ago.
Let me try.
What'd you do to it?
Touched it gently. You want to see how? See? Your eyes, your cheeks, your lips. You purr too, don't you?
Full speed ahead, sailor. There's a smooth sea tonight.
And so our two stars, Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, have brought to a close our latest bold venture story. Special music was composed and conducted by David Rose. May we invite you to listen again next week at this time for another exciting adventure starring Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, together in Bold Venture.
Stay tuned for the Red Skelton Show next on Theater of the Mind.
Previously on Dave's Corner Garage.
I have a 2017
pill to see how it reacts on them. Of course, taking a new drug to market like this is typically very lengthy as far as the process is concerned, but obviously the race is on here to get this to market if it indeed does work. Pfizer stock down 0.5% to $38.47. Markets were very little changed as investors today waited for the big earnings that came in after the bell. We heard from some of the biggest names in tech. Alphabet, the Google parent company, didn't disappoint. Very big earnings in from Alphabet. A first quarter adjusted earnings per share of $26.29, about 80% higher than what analysts were expecting. Revenue grew 34% to $55.31 billion. Alphabet stock higher after hours. Microsoft with a top and bottom line beat, $1.95 per share of the bottom line. Starbucks with a mixed result, beat on earnings, but revenue at $6.7 billion did miss the street. The TSX was up 4 points, 19,175. The Dow gaining 3 points below 34K. S&P down a point, the Nasdaq down 48. The Canadian dollar at 80.62 cents US. This is 680 News.
SH Health is a private medical clinic offering testing for COVID-19. If you need clearance for essential travel or are concerned or responsible for workplace safety, FH Health offers same-day PCR and rapid COVID testing. And the best part, you're in and out in just a few minutes. Go to fhhealth.ca to book an appointment today at one of our 5 GTA clinics. FH Health, protecting communities, companies, and families.
Get in on the McDonald's Daily Deal Drops. From April 19th to May 9th, we're dropping delicious deals like a $3 Big Mac or 50% off a McFlurry, exclusively with the McDonald's app. App download, registration, and activation required, plus taxes. Only one daily offer per customer at participating restaurants.
Right now in downtown Toronto, we're seeing an overcast sky at 10 degrees and similar conditions over at Pearson Airport. Light rain in pockets right around the city with thunderstorms on the outskirts and west of the city. Right now, this is CFTR 680 News AM Toronto. Listen 24/5 times a day and always be in the know. It's 10:30.
You have a toggle switch somewhere.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News.
Good evening, it's Tuesday, April 27th. I'm Caitlin Lee.
I'm Scott Burnett. Here are the top stories right now.
Canada Post ordered to shut down an afternoon shift at its Mississauga Gateway plant because of a COVID-19 outbreak. Your international mail may be delayed.
Quebec is reporting Canada's first case of a person dying of a rare blood clot after receiving the AstraZeneca vaccine. Officials say this adverse effect is still extremely rare and the shot is still safe.
A Hamilton couple is dead. Their son is facing second-degree murder charges after what police say was a family dispute.
We're tracking some rain and thunderstorms tonight. Your forecast straight ahead with Carl Lamb.
Glad Junior dazzles in Dunedin while the Raptors fall to the Nets. Sports at 45.
Microsoft earnings in there strong, and it's because of the work at home trend. TSX edges higher and talk about fraud in the housing market. Business at 56.
680 News time, 10:31.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here is Camille Wilson.
This report is brought to you by Lexus of Oakville. Construction out on our major routes right now. We've got the ramp to Dixon that remains closed off for maintenance, and the southbound McCowan ramp to the eastbound 401 as well as the ramps to McCallum from the 401. Those are also shut down as well for some construction. On the westbound 401 now at Markham Road in the collectors, 2 right lanes of maintenance. Again, we are not looking at any sorts of delays on any of our major routes as you head through any of these construction zones, but heads up drivers as you get through there. Also, as well, from Mavis to approaching Mississauga Road on the westbound 401, all express lanes there are closed off for some construction. The northbound Mississauga Road ramp to the westbound 401 is closed. For Erie bound QEW over the Burlington Skyway, we have 2 right lanes of maintenance, and the eastbound Finch ramp to the northbound 427, that is also closed for repairs. For a limited time, Lisa 2021 NX300 and Sport Series 1 at 1.9% with biweekly payments from $228 and F Sport credits of $3,000. See LexusofOakville.ca. Your next report is at 10:41, and now with your forecast, here's Carl Lamb.
We're watching that rain make its way through the GTA now, moving through areas like Richmond Hill, Thornhill, headed over towards areas like Whitchurch, Stouffville. Ajax picking up on some of this rain. The downtown core, Scarborough, it's a bit widespread, but also some pockets where we're seeing some heavier downpours and even a few reports of lightning for areas just near Erin, where we're seeing some of those heavier downpours at this point. So that rain is headed over towards areas like Georgetown and Brampton, and we are going to stay on the mild side tonight as some of these showers continue to bubble up during the overnight, and then temperatures dropping down to 9 degrees. We're going to do this all over again tomorrow with rain and some thunderstorms and a high of 15. Right now it's 9 at Pearson, 9 downtown. Tonight's overnight low is 9.
680 News Time, 10:33.
Dozens of Canada Post workers have been ordered to isolate at home by Peel Public Health after another outbreak at a facility in Mississauga.
680's Karen Ciola joins us live with those details. Karen?
Scott, around 80 Canada Post employees will be staying at home for the next 10 days after a COVID-19 outbreak was declared at the Gateway location. Peel Public Health using its new Section 22 order to shut down an afternoon shift at what Canada Post calls the Toronto Exchange Office. That's where the inspection of incoming international mail happens. In the last week, 12 employees there have tested positive. Canada Post says your overseas package may face delays as a result. As for those missing out on work, the Crown Corporation says there are supports in place. Peel Public Health officials have also ordered the partial closures of 5 other workplaces, including the Canadian Tire Distribution Centre in Brampton. Workplace exposures continue to be a major source of COVID-19 transmission in the region. Reporting live, I'm Karen Ciola.
680 News Time, 10:34. Canada now reporting its first death related to someone getting the AstraZeneca vaccine. A Montreal area woman in her 50s. 680's Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney has the details.
A woman in her 50s, reportedly from the Montreal area, is Canada's first patient to die from this extremely rare side effect, possibly linked to the AstraZeneca vaccine. Quebec health officials made the sad confirmation during a provincial update, with their chief medical health officer, Dr. Horacio Arruda, reminding people this blood clot is extremely rare, but it's also treatable.
There is a lot of people who will be treated the right way and they will have no sequela from this.
Officials say the shot is still safe overall. The risk is extremely rare and they will not be changing their vaccination strategy. Health Canada has said the chances of getting this very rare blood clot is between 1 in 100,000 and 1 in 250,000. Meanwhile, the risk of developing a blood clot in hospital with COVID is 1 in 5. There have been more than 1 million AstraZeneca vaccines administered across the country. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
Here with All News Radio 680 News at 10:35. Medical teams from other provinces are starting to arrive in Ontario to help lend a hand in struggling hospitals. 9 healthcare workers touched down this afternoon at Pearson from Newfoundland, Labrador. Here's 680's Irene Breckley.
Wave 3 of the pandemic has flooded Ontario hospitals with COVID-19 patients, overwhelming intensive care units. But help has arrived from Newfoundland with a team of nurses and doctors touching down in Toronto this afternoon.
We're ready to get orientated, to get to know the nurses and the physicians and the other interdisciplinary team members, and get to work and hopefully relieve some of of these healthcare providers that have been working tirelessly, over the past year.
Ontario is also getting help from the military and Red Cross. 3,265 new COVID-19 cases today. That's the smallest daily increase in almost 3 weeks. But 2,336 people are in Ontario hospitals being treated for the virus, more than double what it was at the start of the month. I'm Irene Preckland.
Two levels of government are still arguing about how to implement a new paid sick day program in Ontario. 680's Richard Southern takes a look.
Instead of starting its own paid sick days program, the Ford government today said it instead wants the federal government to boost the payout from its program. Queen's Park offering to pick up the extra $500 so workers get $1,000 per week. But no, said the feds. Chrystia Freeland's office says they will not act until Ontario mandates sick days in this province. Ontario Labour Minister Monty McNaughton.
Well, I'm more of an optimist. I saw a hope in what she issued. There's no reason why they couldn't flip that switch and increase it to $1,000.
All this less than a week after the Premier said,
we're going to take actions ourselves, and we will have the best program anywhere in North America.
NDP leader Andrea Horvath.
It's despicable, and they have to stop this political back and forth.
Richard Southern, 680 News.
680 News Time, 10:37. Hamilton police say a 34-year-old man is facing charges in connection with a double stabbing that left both of his parents dead. 680's Phil Martino reports.
Hamilton police say the son of a 61-year-old woman and a 67-year-old man who were found suffering from stab wounds in an apartment building Monday afternoon will face 2 counts of second-degree murder. The couple died in hospital. The accused is in serious condition with self-inflicted injuries. According to Staff Sergeant Peter Tom, this was a family dispute.
The accused has had a prior involving the father. He was on a conditional discharge for that, weapons prohibition.
He wasn't on anything if it was conditional. I thought you said unconditional.
An edged weapon was recovered at the scene. The victims have 2 other children, 2 daughters. I'm Phil Martino.
An investigation is underway after shots were fired in Mississauga near Burnhamthorpe Road and Mavis Road just after 8 tonight. Peel Regional Police tell 680 News shell casings were at the scene. There are no injuries and no suspect descriptions being released right now. Road closures are in effect in the area. Motorists are being asked to find alternate routes.
A huge night at the plate for the Jays. Biggest bat in Dunedin. George Russick from Sportsnet 590 The Fan recaps a win for our boys of summer.
George Springer was supposed to make his Blue Jays debut tonight in Dunedin against the Nationals, but that didn't happen. Springer might play tomorrow, but have no fear. Vladdy is here.
Swinging a job. Get up, ball. Get out of here. How about a 3-homer night for Vladdy?
Yeah, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit 3 homers in Toronto's 9-5 win over Washington.
Based on your knowledge of the players, what is it that motivates the Ontario government not to tell companies to offer 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 sick days a year? Like, what would stop them from doing it? Are you trying to tell us that that it's an ideological thing? I mean, just you're the one who studies it. I don't want to put words in your mouth. So why is this happening?
We've seen time like that this is a government that supports big box stores and, large corporations that are interested in for profit. We saw it in the second wave in long-term care. We saw it in this wave when they decided not to follow public health restrictions and small businesses suffered as a result. We know a small business owner who spent $40,000, establishing a patio and had to close the next day because the provincial government didn't follow the science. They're not in it for small businesses. They're not in it for the workers.
People want to put tents on patios, sealed, airtight, with propane heaters on them.
And, by not supporting paid sick days, what they're really saying is that the labor of essential workers is essential, quote unquote, but their lives are not. And so if our government in a pandemic is not interested in helping people and saving lives, what are they interested in? Right? That's essentially what you're asking me. And I can only guess, I've given you some thoughts, but it keeps me up at night for sure.
Well, it boggles my mind. I mean, I'm a free enterprise person. I don't want to pose as something else. But all of these big box stores that you're talking about, which are all owned by by massive corporations, they have a much easier time affording 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 days a year than the small businesses. I mean, no one can make the case to me that the Home Depots and the Costco's, are going to be run out of Ontario if they have to pay 5 to 10 days of sick leave.
Totally. I mean, listen, if Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, can get $91 billion richer during a pandemic, Amazon can afford paid sick days for its employees. Right? I mean,
the whole thing is absurd, and it makes it look like the government is a puppet of a handful of businesses, and I don't understand why the government would want that look. It's not really a good look.
And I think it's not just optics. It's that actually the public is really smart. The community is smart. You see it on social media. I see it in my friends and family I talk to. They know what's going on. They are aware. 70 to 80% of Ontarians, depending on the survey you look at, support paid sick days. And even we're seeing, conservative outlets are talking about paid sick days as a measure that helps save lives, but also saves money in the long run. So to double down on this, it just speaks to the fact that this is a hill that they want to die on, and I just cannot understand why.
So Dr. Desani, please understand, the reason I mention how things look, and it's a poor look, is because most people involved in politics, that's all they're thinking about 24/7. If that wasn't what they were thinking about 24/7, we would have solved this damn thing a long time ago.
Yeah, that really resonates with me, and I appreciate you reflecting on that point. And it gets me thinking about the fact that, still to this day, we have not really seen the government put into place the recommendations of my colleagues on the science table, which really include the reallocation of vaccines to hotspots at a rate that is much higher than what was originally presented. We haven't seen the government walk back the announcements they made about policing. Yes, some police forces said that they would, not enforce it, but I'm still hearing reports of people in Black and brown communities who are being stopped by police, children who are being targeted in parks. There's confusion out there, right? So when these guys
there's no confusion.
When they don't listen to the
That's
evidence,
not confusion.
people suffer.
There's confusion out there because these Black and brown people must be lying, of course, because the white guy said they didn't do it. There's confusion. It's not confusion. Racist people.
You're 7 degrees tomorrow night. Right now, it is 9. Pearson 9 at 680 News, and tonight's overnight low is 9.
I can fix that, man, but that was a real pain in the ass.
We won't be able to crack open a beer at City Park this summer.
The idea of allowing drinking in public outdoor settings in Toronto is going to just sit in the fridge with city staff to work on for now. That's how the vote went at the Economic and Community Development Committee on a motion from Councillor Josh Matlow.
It has never been more important to move on this than now, given that this summer will hopefully be our last pandemic summer.
Matlow says a lot of responsible adults in Toronto have no backyard or patio, and they will choose to gather indoors because they're not allowed to gather outdoors to enjoy a cold beer together. Among those disagreeing was Toronto's top doctor, Eileen Davila, and there were concerns the city could not possibly be ready for outdoor drinking bylaw changes in time for this summer. I'm Mark Douglas.
Welcome to McDonald's. Right now, every order of fries helps families with sick children.
In that case, we'll take all the fries.
A portion of the proceeds from all fries sold from April 20th to May 10th supports Ronald McDonald House Charities Canada.
Applied to all surfaces, including frequently touched and hard-to-reach areas, and is 99.9% effective. Our application of NanoNation's BioProtect solution coating is proven to last for up to 90 days. To have your location serviced, visit nanonationcanada.com.
Spring cleaning is when homes get a new twinkle in their eye,
A new spring in their step.
a new color in their cheeks.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK. We'll be there before you hang up the phone.
When that shiny truck from 1-800-GOT-JUNK arrives.
Music is Dave and his Procter & Gamble Orchestra play Beyond the Blue Horizon.
Yeah, Vlad. Apologies Advisor, you get to talk to a real person who can provide tailored solutions that don't fit every small business, they fit yours. That's what it means to really listen. For solutions powered by Intel vPro platform, call an advisor at 310-DEL.
Hey, it's Alan Cross from the Ongoing History of New Music podcast. Your next favorite podcast could be waiting for you right now on the Curious Cast Podcast Network. Like nothing much happens. Bedtime stories for grown-ups. Trouble sleeping? Then this is definitely the podcast for you. Just like the name. You hear a story, nothing much happens, but you feel good. And then you fall asleep. It's all waiting for you now, for free, at CuriousCast.ca and wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Vashon Insurance Group presents Did You Know?
Vashon has an RV program for all trailers, motorhomes, and park models. When you're not using your motorhome, they'll send you a check back. It's like a pay-as-you-go policy. Be surprised on how much you can save. Ask the experts at Vashon for details. Vashon Insurance Group. Home, auto, commercial.
I am Conrad Vashon, and we're your insurance broker.
Vashon Insurance Group. Call 416-239-3373. That's 239-3373.
Hi, Keith here from Speedy Glass to tell you that sometimes even the best drivers are no match for rough roads, and a crack in your windshield can happen fast. Luckily, a cracked windshield is no match for my team and I at Speedy Glass. We use cutting it.
Total discounts on select 2021 Ram 1500 Classic models. Plus up to $3,000 in loyalty cash for select owners. The perfect truck, the perfect price, the perfect time. Consider the search over. See your Ram dealer for details.
At jackpotcity.net, you can do amazing things with just one casino chip. Discover a world of incredible casino games with over 500 online slot games, including the world-renowned progressive jackpot slot Mega Moolah. Play for free at jackpotcity.net and get treated as a VIP 24/7. So visit jackpotcity.net today on your tablet, laptop, or mobile. Jackpot City, a whole world of casino games. 18 plus. Please play responsibly. This is not a gambling website.
680 News Time 1049. A major streaming service is opening up a new office in Toronto. We get the details from Erica Natividad of City News.
Just 2 days after taking home the most Oscars of any studio at the Academy Awards, Netflix has chosen Toronto for its next office setup. The streaming service will be opening up its first Canadian location in our city later this year.
Really cement our position yet again with this company and others who will follow as the place in Canada to make film and television productions. I think that when it is a marquee name like Netflix, it causes others to say, you know what, if that's where they are, in addition to all the others who come here in that business, that's where we should be as well.
Netflix already has one production hub in Toronto, but the new corporate office hopes to promote Canadian content creators and their projects. The exact location of the office has not been announced. Erica Natividad, City News.
Traffic and weather in 1 minute.
680 News Time, 10:50.
Life is not a dress rehearsal. It was likely a mom who said this. Perhaps your mom. Every day is an opportunity to write a new script, a new chapter. And this Mother's Day, the one day dedicated to moms, is your chance to tell your mom how grateful you are for everything she does. Because moms are the best. Moms are the rock, the glue, the heart and soul of any family unit. Moms are the family's planners, the family doctors, the family counselors. They are the teachers, the friends, the guiding lights, the real-life superheroes who always know when to push and when to let go and let you be. So don't let this Mother's Day go by without showing Mom the heartfelt love and appreciation you feel by giving her a pair of white gold Tears of Joy earrings from Spence for $199. As priceless as Mom is, she's more than worth it. Spence Diamonds. Find us in Vaughan, Scarborough, and Mississauga.
680 News Time, 10:51.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Let's check in with Camille Wilson.
This report is brought to you by Hickory Dickory Decks. They're looking at construction out on our major routes right now. So we've got those ramps that are closed off to the eastbound 401, which is the Dixon and southbound McCowan ramps are closed, as well as the eastbound 401 ramps to McCowan are also shut down. And then McCowan ramps to the westbound 401 and the off ramps of the westbound 401 to McCowan are also closed. The northbound Brimley ramp to westbound 401 is closed off, and the ramp to Allen Road, that is shut down as well for some maintenance. And from Mavis to approaching Mississauga Road, we've got all the express lanes closed off there for some construction. Collectors are open. They're moving up to speed. And then the northbound Mississauga Road ramp to the westbound 401, those are closed for some maintenance. If you're heading out to the northbound 427, you have no access from the eastbound Finch ramp, and the westbound Finch ramp to the southbound 427 is also closed off for maintenance. Celebrating over 30 years of custom decks and happy customers, Hickory Dickory Decks offers the widest selection of low-maintenance decking. Enjoy life outdoors. Visit decks.ca. Your next report is at 11:01, and now with your forecast, here's Carl Lamb.
Thanks, Camille. And we are watching these rain showers actually intensify. We have this little cell that just moved through Brampton. Between reports, it has already rolled through. That's just a sign of how quickly these showers are moving. But this is now headed over towards the downtown core. We have some lightning strikes from this. So if you are an avid watcher of lightning moving across the city, you will catch a view. So just make sure you're looking west at this point right now. But some of these heavier downpours impacting areas if you're traveling on the 401, if you're on the Gardner or DVP or the 427, that is one of those target areas right now that we're watching. So just adjust your speeds to the conditions, have that full headlighting system on, and those wipers in full, kind of in full tilt, because you will definitely need them with this blast of rain making its way through. Rain tonight down to 9 degrees, rain tomorrow and a high of 15. We could even get into a thunderstorm or two tomorrow and down to 7 tomorrow evening. Right now it is 9 at Pearson 9 at 680 News. Tonight's overnight low is 9.
680 News time, 10:53.
Man, if I was in a RAV4 right now, I'd load up my gear and head out for an adventure. Nothing would stand in my way. Just me and the open road in front of me.
Sir? Come up to the second window, please.
Red Tag days are back. Stop dreaming about a new Toyota and start driving one. Lease a 2021 Toyota RAV4 LE front-wheel drive for $79 weekly at 4.49% APR for 48 months with $2,900 down. Contact your local Ontario Toyota dealer.
Caller here, and I'm of the view that this shouldn't be something that's legislated. I don't think that either governments or employers should be required to pay for sick leave. I think our reality is that we already have a situation for both employers and governments to provide an awful lot of provisions. We've got publicly funded health care.
You're incentivizing people to spread disease. You're incentivizing to spread disease, but you're not making any extra money doing it.
Anybody else's responsibility to look after me. Particular comment from the guest that
How about all the work you've done that's been subsidized by Indian trust accounts?
Forcing people to choose between going to work in order to put food on their table or their health and safety and their health and wellness. And we know that spending is out of control, and maybe the responsibility needs to be put back on the worker to do a better job of planning, of budgeting, of being careful about how they manage their money so that they have money set aside for when they're sick.
Cameron, let me get Dr. DeSami in to respond. Go ahead, Dr.
Yeah, Cameron, I appreciate that. And of course, we're just meeting over this phone call. But I just wanted to say that, many of the people I care for who are essential workers don't have the luxury of being able to save and budget for themselves. They make minimum wage and don't have that luxury. They don't have the privilege of saving. And so when you talk about, putting the onus on the worker, essential workers are already have
people that have had their lives handed to them always have all the answers.
They've borne the brunt of this pandemic. Essential workers are the ones who are getting sick and dying. And on top of that, in hotspots here in Ontario, they tend to be racialized people who are living in multi-generational households because they can't afford more, and they're working in places like Amazon and production plants and factories. And so I think the statement comes from a place of privilege. My patients can't do that because they're not that privileged. And so paid sick days is a
All households are multi-generational, you fucking retard. Wow, you're fucking stupid. If you're gonna be racist and try to pass your shit off, say things that make sense. But think of a house as not multi-generational.
Citizen to do right now.
Any family is a multi-generation house. If it's not a family, then it's not. It's that simple.
Opportunity virus. We know that essential workers and workers everywhere have taken a huge...
In that case, there would only be two in the house, and they either both got it or they don't.
Call your MLA, your MPP.
All right. We'll get on to that point. Call your MLA and see if you can get them to be activated on this issue and energized. Dr. Naheed Dasani, thanks always for the work that you do. In just a few moments, we switch focus to something completely different, but it's still very much infection-related right here on Charles Antler tonight.
COVID has impacted frontline teachers, education workers, and students. For our economy to bounce back, we need a healthy education system. Education is Ontario's competitive edge. But Doug Ford's plans threaten our recovery by shortchanging education, and that affects us all. Please visit betterstronger.ca and let Doug Ford know that now is not the time to shortchange education. A message from the 60,000 teachers and education workers of the Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation.
How Bell makes being at home better.
Hello, spring. I love this time of year. It's the perfect time for a fresh start, like switching to Pure Fiber Internet, the fastest internet technology and the best TV service in one awesome springtime bundle.
Amazing bundles are in full bloom. Get 5 150 internet with 5 TV in one amazing bundle, starting from just $119.90 a month. Call 310 Bell to check availability. Bell, being at home just got better.
Tim was a man who was full of life, who was all about family. When Tim passed away, everything changed. Nothing is the same. And that was the end of life as I knew it.
On April 28th, we remember all those who've suffered a workplace death, injury, or illness. Learn more at wsibdayofmourning.ca.
Are you tired of dealing with car dealers that only want what's best for them? Are you confused on what a good deal actually is? If you have bad credit, should you settle for an older car at higher interest rates? Or is there a better option for you? Hi, this is Vince Uluzzi from WeFindYourCar.ca, and find out all the answers to all your questions this Saturday morning from 10 to 11 a.m. here on Experts Hour. Call us live with any questions you may have about new or used vehicles, and you will get answers to help you save money. WeFindYourCar.ca.
If you're accused of a criminal offense, including those that arise from a high-conflict divorce, you need a highly experienced criminal defense lawyer. I'm Joseph Newberger, a certified specialist in criminal law. I've dedicated my career to protecting your rights. If you're charged, you don't need to go through this difficult time alone. Newberger & Partners are here to guide you every step of the way. Contact us for a consultation at 416-364-3111 or go to nrlawyers.com. That's nrlawyers.com.
Every year, Chorus gives hundreds of businesses an opportunity to grow. And grow. And grow. By exposing them to potential customers across Canada's most powerful radio networks. And now our Back to Business exclusive packages. Let us show you just how easy it is. Register to our free 30-minute consultation at chorus.online/radio today.
This is Global News. I'm Toby Kerr. Quebec has announced its first death linked to a blood clot after a woman received the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. The province's health officials are assuring people it's still safe to receive the vaccine, calling events like this extremely rare.
A 54-year-old woman has died in Quebec from a cerebral blood clot after being vaccinated with the AstraZeneca vaccine. During Tuesday's press conference, the public health director gave his condolences to her family.
I think if we could have prevented, if we knew that she was going to do it, we would not give her the vaccine, but it's impossible.
He says the risk of developing a blood clot due to the vaccine is 1 in 100,000 doses. The risk of death is even more rare, and it's much lower, he says, than contracting COVID-19.
That's Global's Raquel Fletcher reporting. While there is no definitive decision on whether Canada will mandate COVID-19 vaccination certificates, the Prime Minister says they are to be expected.
Pre-pandemic, certificates of vaccination are a part of international travel to certain regions and are naturally to be expected when it comes to this pandemic and the coronavirus. How we actually roll that out in alignment with partners and allies around the world is something that we're working on right now to coordinate.
As COVID-19 vaccinations ramp up, countries are exploring how documents that identify virus protection could help reopen borders. Some have already started to lift lockdown restrictions for people who can prove they've been vaccinated. Canada closed its land and sea borders to tourists more than a year ago to curb cases of the virus. Genome Canada is unveiling a new data portal to help better track data on COVID-19 variants. It hopes that if a variant of concern does emerge from within Canada, it can be identified more quickly. A similar exercise in the United Kingdom helped discover the B117 variant that is now the dominant variant in Canada. The organization notes that while all viruses mutate, variations only become of interest if they make the virus more infectious, cause more severe illnesses, or are resistant to current treatments or vaccines. Nova Scotia has announced a province-wide shutdown to combat a surge of COVID-19 cases. As of Wednesday morning, all schools and non-essential indoor services will be closed in the province. Dr. Robert Strang, Nova Scotia's Chief Medical Officer of Health, says the measures are needed to get the virus back under control.
I know people are worried. I am too about this situation. And everyone wants to get tested. Everyone wants to get vaccine. The health system is working as hard and as fast as we can to provide access to these necessary COVID responses.
The announcement comes as the military deploys 60 service members to assist at COVID-19 testing centers in Nova Scotia. The lockdown will be in place for at least the next 2 weeks. A loss for BC as it fights the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion. The Federal Court of Appeal has rejected BC's argument that Alberta's so-called turn-off-the-taps legislation is discriminatory and beyond that province's powers. The legislation, which some believe was written in 2018 to punish BC for its opposition to the pipeline, gives Alberta control over the export of its crude oil. A lower court had to temporarily block the law since 2019. In sports, the Toronto Blue Jays' Vladimir Guerrero Jr. making history against the Washington Nationals. Vladdy hitting 3 home runs, driving in 7 runs, helping the Jays beat the Nats 9-5. At 22 years old, Guerrero is the youngest player since 1901 with a 3-homer, 7 RBI game. No Canadian teams in action in the NHL. 1 game still going.
They're coming down today, not Canadian authorities, but American authorities, and this is for those who are already double vaccinated. But we look at what they're doing down there to get a window on what will likely be happening here in Canada. So we'll talk about, as I say, what the Centers for Disease Control in the United States has come up with today with Dr. Jason Kendrick in just a few moments. And I'll probably get Dr. Kendrick to join me in this conversation because it dovetails with what we were talking about earlier with Dr. Dasani and paid leave. I think some people on this paid leave business focus only on the workers. And whether they like the workers or don't.
What the fucking hell is going on now, man?
And the corporations in this country and the unions and everyone else, what we all have to do to contain the virus. Because if we're doing things that are getting in the way of containing the virus and killing the virus, because we're into this right-wing, left-wing, labor versus management.
Yeah, that's what I need to keep happening. There's literally no reason for this. Oh, and of course, somehow this won't run. This is insane.
And killing the virus, because we're into this right-wing, left-wing labor versus management deal. If we allow all those things to distract us from killing the virus, then the virus will kill us. Whether it kills us personally or it kills aspects of the economy and creates more debt for the economy, whatever way you want to slice it and dice it, it's not in the interest. This is an amoral statement I'm making, okay? This is non-ideological. It is not in the interest of killing the virus to get into these ideological food fights, right-wing versus left-wing. And Jason Kinderchuk, as always, I invite the next guest to say whatever they want about the previous topic. If there's something you want to say about paid sick leave and whether or not it's effective to kill the virus, fine. If not, we'll move on.
Yeah, I certainly I'll weigh in with with some thoughts. And I think for me, it's the simple fact that when we look at the groups that have been disproportionately affected by this virus, and certainly in this wave, and throughout, I'm going to be fair, throughout the pandemic, we know which groups have been hit extremely hard. We know people in lower economic status. We know people that are minorities and in underserved communities have been hit hard. They've borne the brunt of this pandemic, and I think it is the most Canadian aspect of our personalities and our humanity to ensure that those people and their families are looked after during these times, because we've been dependent on them, and they in turn should be able to be dependent on us.
That's the human piece, and I don't disagree, but what I'm trying to do here tonight on this particular topic is connect with people who honestly don't care about those folks. They're not going to come on the air and say, I don't care about them, obviously, but there are a number of people who don't care. And my only point is that whether you care about them or not, okay, whether you want them in the country or not, no matter where you stand on all of those things, it is not in the interest of fighting COVID not to help them. So to me, this isn't just an errand of mercy. It's not just about compassion. It's not about humanitarianism. Yes, it can be all of those things. But in the interest of explaining this to people who are not in favor of helping these folks, and they can't be appealed to on that basis, is it not in all of our interests, in the country's interest, to make sure that those people are as healthy as possible? Because if they're not as healthy as possible, they're spreading the virus. That's not in anyone's interest. I mean, that's my point. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm just asking you whether or not Jason Kinderchuk thinks that's a fair point from the perspective of epidemiology. You're an infectious diseases expert. Does it cut down, does it contain and kill the virus to make sure as many people are as healthy as possible?
Absolutely. If we can stop the virus in its tracks, it's not going to continue to transmit. It's not going to continue to mutate. It's not going to continue to change. That should be our end goal, regardless of what side of the ideological spectrum we sit on. We want to stop the virus from moving from person to person and across populations. It is in our personal best interests, and in the best interests of everything that we hold near and dear to us.
If the politicians and the people who work for politicians were not constantly focused on the media buzz, the media spin, how's this playing on social media? How's this playing on conventional media? How does this affect our polling with our opponents and all that? If they weren't distracted by any of that, okay, if they were just focused on the science, as they like to say, in other words, killing the virus, do you think that we would have far fewer deaths, far fewer sickness, and possibly be done with COVID by now if the various governments, federal and provincial, only focused on the virus?
It's a good question. I think, my heart wants to say yes. My head also appreciates that. Look, I mean, even in the scientific community, we certainly have seen any number of different things have been thrown at us with COVID as we've learned more about the virus. And certainly there's been quite a few right and left-hand turns that we've had to take very quickly as we've learned information. I think it certainly would have been faster. I don't think it would have been hiccup-free or free of any sort of tumultuous periods. But I certainly think we would have hopefully gotten to an end stage a lot faster than what we have.
So let's talk about what the CDC, Centers for Disease Control in the United States. And first of all, let's set this up, Dr. Kindrachuk. You've got lots of experience down in the States with the NIH, the CDC. What is the CDC, and why does the CDC matter not just to the United States but to the world?
Yeah, I mean, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are very much like our public health agency of Canada and Health Canada as a whole, right? So they are providing real-time information on diseases, whether they're communicable or non-communicable, to the communities that are affected by those across the U.S., and are also providing epidemiology, and they're providing outbreak response efforts, and certainly doing basic research within their laboratories as well, whether it's in the nation or abroad. So, we as a whole, I think, rely on the CDC to provide us with cogent information and cogent context for what we're dealing with. I mean, these people are unbelievably smart and unbelievably talented, and they're very good at what they do, and that's why they, I think, hold the reputation that they have. You can take away the policymakers from within the CDC, but when you look at the scientists within the CDC, these are people that are phenomenal.
And the world, scientists around the world, many of them take their cues from the CDC, and the CDC, in fact, hires scientists from all over the world. Is that not true?
100%.
I can't stand their coverage of hockey night.
The conjecture that was layered towards the CDC through the latter part of the Trump administration. Just people were unhappy with what was going on, maybe internally, but at the same time, we were still seeing recommendations for different groups across the world to get information from the CDC as a trusted source. So I think that speaks volumes for the type of people that have been the men and women that have dedicated their lives to working within those laboratories.
Dedicated their lives.
By the way, nobody has mistaken me for a Trump supporter, but is it fair to say that if there's one thing that Donald Trump, the one thing his legacy is a positive on, it's Operation Warp Speed. I don't know how he can be denied credit for putting that in place. What's your take?
Certainly, it puts me in a tough spot because I just want to look past all the horrible things. But I
understand, and we're on the same page on all the horrible things. I'm not asking you to tell me that he's a wonderful human being or whatever. It's just an objective question. Yeah. If it weren't for the Operation Warp Speed, which basically took a whole lot of regulations and suspended them to make sure that we could get a vaccine as fast as possible. That is something, whether you want to think of him as Trump or not, that was a White House decision. Would you not agree that decision has been helpful to the world?
We have to appreciate that administration was in power when those vaccines moved forward and when they moved as quickly as they did. So I certainly think that there will be credit that is due to them for at least helping mitigate some part of that. Absolutely.
All right. Before we go to the break, I just want to run a clip for you. We ran this last night. Some people heard this last night. Don't know if you heard this, but it has to do with masks, and more important, it has to do with the culture. It is Tucker Carlson, who has an audience of 5 million a night, and he decided to weigh in on public attitudes about wearing masks outdoors. This is Tucker Carlson of Fox News.
We did give in. This grotesque version of Halloween went on for more than a year, and it's still going on. Not even Tony Fauci still pretends that masks are medically necessary. Instead, masks are purely a sign of political obedience, like Kim Il-sung pins in Pyongyang. What? We wear them because we have to. The only people who wear masks voluntarily outside are zealots and neurotics. How neurotic are they? Well, we know. A Pew survey from last March found that 64% of white Americans who classify themselves as liberal or very liberal have been diagnosed with an actual mental health condition.
Yeah,
and you see that
but
neuroticism is not a mental health condition. If you dare to go on foot from Union Station to the Capitol, for example, in Washington, without wearing a mask, angry Biden voters will snort at you in judgment. How could you? They're saying from behind the gauze. How could you? That's the question we should be asking of them in return. The rest of us should be snorting at them first. They're the aggressors.
Right, we should be
It's
snorting
our
at
job
each
to
other.
brush them back and restore the society we were born in.
What he's trying to say.
The next time you see someone in a mask on the sidewalk or on the bike path, do not hesitate.
Snort at
Ask
each other.
politely but firmly, would you please take off your mask? Science shows there is no reason for you to be wearing it. Your mask is making me uncomfortable. We should do that, and we should keep
Science
doing it
says
until wearing
I
a
can
mask
breathe the
outside
same
is
air as you.
roughly as socially accepted as lighting a Marlboro in an elevator. It's repulsive. Don't do it around other people.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
It's true.
The exact opposite is the same. Hello, Chomo. We know you're here, Chomo. We know.
I think it'll probably be best at this point for me to kind of
raise it up. Yeah, show me some weird edited shit, dude. Come on.
Kinderchuk is not used to this. We'll return with Dr. Jason Kinderchuk, Canada Research Chair,
every time I point out the scientific details of my medical conditions,
in the country, he's a world class, and he
tears
doesn't mind
apart his
an opinion
babble
once in a
about
while on things that
all these people
sort
babbling
of
about this being
trespass into
mental
the field
health.
of politics. Science and politics, they don't mix very well, but Dr. Kinderchuk does a great job of navigating the circuit. In a moment, much more of our conversation with Dr. Jason Kinderchuk in Saskatoon tonight. This is Charles Hampton tonight.
Life is not a dress rehearsal. It was likely a mom who said this. Perhaps your mom. Every day is an opportunity to write a new script, a new chapter. And this Mother's Day, the one day dedicated to moms, is your chance to tell your mom how grateful you are for everything she does. Because moms are the best. Moms are the rock, the glue, the heart and soul of any family unit. Moms are the family's planners, the family doctors, the family counselors. They are the teachers, the friends, the guiding lights, the real-life superheroes who always know when to push and when to let go and let you be. So don't let this Mother's Day go by without showing Mom the heartfelt love and appreciation you feel by giving her a pair of white gold Tears of Joy earrings from Spence for $1.99. As priceless as Mom is, she's more than worth it. Spence Diamonds. Find us in Vaughan, Scarborough, and Mississauga.
Ontario's COVID-19 vaccine plan is helping to stop the spread and save lives. Until we're all vaccinated, we need to stay the course. Wear a mask, wash your hands, keep your distance. We've come so far together, and thousands of people across Ontario are getting vaccinated every day. Your turn is coming soon. Visit ontario.ca/COVID vaccine plan or call 1-888.
So we already know, mathematically, statistically, we can't get ahead of this with vaccines. We already know that. They told us that 3-4 months ago. Yeah, keep it up, Chomo. Keep locking it up. Chomo's getting mad.
The Health Canada approved hospital-grade
Show what I really need to look like. Right? Come on.
Our application of NanoNation's BioProtect solution
8
coating
seconds
is proven to
every time.
last
You got
for
an
up to 90
8,000
days. To have
millisecond
your
ping time.
location serviced, visit NanoNation Canada.
This fucking retard's trying to use like network malware. Network-aware malware with an 8,000 millisecond ping time. And you realize I saw this the entire last hour and the 107 minutes. I've been watching the screen. I've been basically looking at the screen every so often. It doesn't lock up till I'm on the screen and my eyes line up like this because I'm staring at you through the fucking TV, eh? You fucking retard. I'm not going to tell you to go harass anybody else because you do already. You harass little kids and old people to try to get through. You try to get anybody that protects kids out of the way. That's why you babble, babble, babble. And as for how you got like all these friends in police and shit, white supremacist groups and so forth, it only proves what you are. You've been attacking me since they cut off the 222 tips money. I don't know how that involves me, but since that time, you've been attacking me. That's crazy. What a coincidence. See these idiots running up and down the street with 40 bucks in their hand. The payment for snitching out a drug dealer is $400. Yeah, I know most of us have no way of knowing that. It's in the news and shit a couple times. The cops would, after they make them write their statement, whatever, they write $40. You state whoever signs, here's your $40. You kick their ass out, put a 0 400. These fucking idiots did it over and fucking over. All those times somebody got nailed for 40 bucks, and you knew it was for 40 bucks because you hear back from the street what happened. The police were taking 400 out of that petty cash box, and they're completely in charge of accounting for that money. 180 bucks to watch some idiot snitch out his own fucking drug dealer. See them running up and down the street in the middle of the night with 40 bucks in their hand trying to find a drug dealer. Asking people that don't sell drugs. I called you a snitch before. I told you I don't even do that shit. And that's half the reason I know you're a snitch.
Passenger horror stories is what we're going to be doing in about 10 minutes from now, and I'll tell you why in about 10 minutes. But if you've got a horror story, you're in the industry, or if you're a passenger, doesn't matter to me. If you've got an airline passenger horror story, stay tuned because we're going to be taking your calls in the next half hour. And Jason Kinderchuk is the Canada Research Chair, Department of Medical Microbiology, University of Manitoba and Saskatchewan. I think you've got, Jason, you've got the labs in both places, is that right? I
do, yeah.
Okay. You spend most, when you're not on the radio with me, you're in the laboratory, right?
Oh, I'm either in the lab or trying to write papers or trying to get students together to get papers written. It's 24/7, laboratory research.
And your wife is doing similar work, right?
She is, yeah. No, she absolutely has been involved in this as well.
So we got two tremendous microbiologists. Now, are both of you PhDs, Jason?
We are, yeah. She's a much smarter Dr. Kinderchuk.
All right. I want to give you a chance to react to Tucker Carlson and tell us what the CDC did today that we could expect here in Canada.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson is Tucker Carlson. I spent the last few minutes trying to figure out where he got his infectious disease education from, and surprisingly, I could find nothing. Listen, where all this goes wrong, and I think this stat to me speaks volumes. Is that when you look at pediatric deaths from influenza over the past year in the U.S. as compared to previous years, there has been an accumulation of, I believe, one case so far through 2020, 2021. The previous year, there were 198. So this gives you an idea of not only what the benefits have been.
Spit in people's faces because you think it's funny. Watch it. Buddy told me that one of the ones that was doing that all summer. All his friends are there.
Americans a year.
The one screaming out, he's gonna punch me and knock me out, whatever, because I don't live here. He's gonna take me.
Talked about this
idea of back in the fucking Atlantic Coast. Where you come from?
Give us an impression of where we will be able to get to. I think
he's been on the land long enough to be Canadian, sure, but he's still a racist piece of shit.
There's a big game on people having their full vaccination profile, whether it's the double Pfizer, double Moderna, double AstraZeneca, or the single Johnson & Johnson. But 14 days post second vaccination or post first vaccination for Johnson & Johnson, people can go back to a much more normal lifestyle. The idea of being able to gather with other fully vaccinated people without wearing a mask and without having to worry about the 6-foot rule.
You and them being fully vaccinated means nothing. You're still going to be shedding live virus, contracting it from each other, and giving it to other people.
Even if they are not vaccinated or fully vaccinated. Those things start to give us an impression that, oh, wait a second, we actually have a glimmer of hope very close to us right now. And unfortunately, it's rocky, certainly through many provinces. But we're going to get there. And the vaccines certainly are a massive part of this, as well as the concerted activities and actions of everybody that has been taking this pandemic very seriously.
But as of today, they're telling people who have been double vaccinated, fully vaccinated, they're telling those people that outdoors, they don't need to wear masks unless they're in a very crowded setting. Is that right?
That's 100% correct. And that's how close we are to I think being able to get back to that. I mean, I'm a massive CFL fan. I would love to see the Canadian Football League back operational this year. Can we get there? I hope so. I hope for outdoor sports, for kids' activities. we can get close to that. And I think we are certainly close to the precipice of that.
We're supposed to see, I
Well,
think,
the
I
big
think it was
national
1
event
million
every
deaths,
year, except
half a
last
million,
year, of
1
course, because of
1 million
COVID.
was the
Grey
estimate.
Cup this year, it's December 12th. It's at Tim Hortons Field in
In a
Hamilton.
year,
It'd be wonderful
we had
if
$1
we could
million
get
at 8
some
months, 2
semblance of
million at a
normal,
year,
maybe
3
not
million now, or
full house there,
some to
but
that.
maybe half
I'm
the
not
house, a
off by
quarter of the
much.
house.
We're
We'll see
at
what
3
happens.
million
But
deaths
it'd be
now,
nice
some
to
shit.
return to
And it's
pretty
probably
close
a
to
lot
normal.
more,
By
significantly
December
more.
12th of this year, that is the day of the Grey Cup.
For all
Dr.
these people
Kinderchuk,
that,
thank you very much.
I mean, for example, you got HIV or even
Dr.
cancer,
Jason
you get a
Kinderchuk,
cold, a
he's in
regular cold,
Saskatoon
can kill
tonight.
you.
In just a few moments, I want to switch focus dramatically to a dramatic incident, or what felt like a dramatic incident, on an airplane today, and then talk about
laid off due to COVID-19, you are entitled to full severance pay if you're not recalled to work by your employer. Over 90% of employees are offered much less than they're actually owed. Get the compensation you need. Go to employmentlawyer.ca.
This is Caleb. Hi there. Caleb loves speaking in the third person.
Caleb sure does.
Somewhere here I have a toggle switch I can use.
Jenny my
You know
wife.
how I know I have a
Caleb is a
toggle
romantic,
switch?
But
I
I'll
got one
call
of
her
these.
my life.
And
With an L.
Right?
And Caleb
And
loves
I got
seamless
one of
experiences, which is
So I
why
know
he
I got
booked
a
a
toggle
virtual
switch here
appointment with a
somewhere.
certified diamond consultant from Spence.
Caleb likes things stress-free.
From 2,500 designs, Caleb was able to build a perfect, one-of-a-kind engagement ring for Jenny.
That was easy peasy.
All Caleb needs to do now is propose.
Wait, what? Hey, my palms are getting sweaty.
Jenny's ring is backed by the famous Spence Lifetime Guarantee. You know, just in case.
In case of what? Caleb is feeling vertical. What?
Deep breath, Caleb.
So I sort of look at this as like a listener club / study group / suicide prevention support, something. Nobody got nothing to say, that's fine. Well, I hope it, as long as the video's up for people that chat back and forth in the comments or something, you do something useful with this. That's all I hope. Green stuff here, it's all dry and smelly. Live view of Huanglong's scenic and historic interest. I can't see the whole thing. Why do you put so many lines of text that we can't read the fucking whole notification? That is ridiculous. Did anybody else got that thing to bitch about it? This will make us spend more time, right? Oh, for fuck's sakes. Yes, please keep locking it up. Just dump as much bad data as you can, stupid. We know what you do. We know what you do. You use the software you get off the dark web, thinking that it'll be a free ride. It's not. There's a backdoor on your phone too, stupid. Oh, for fuck's sake. You gotta fucking kidding me. But it proves that you're a chomo. Oh, keep it up. Keep it up, chomo. Up, chomo. So what is it you think you're destroying, Chomo? What are you stopping from happening? Yeah, every time I look towards the screen, it should lock up like that. Yeah, every fucking time. It's not a fucking joke. I'm calling exactly what you're doing, stupid. You are pathological, which is exceptionally predictable, as all narcissists and child rapists are. You're incredibly predictable. Yep, you're going to keep shitting on that button, the I shit myself button. You got one exploit that still works on the whole fucking thing, and you're still using it. We've burned out. Yeah, keep it up. Every time. If I keep looking and then turning away and then looking, do you know when to press the button? No, you don't. Wow, you're pathetic, bro. You're pathetic, bro. You're pathetic. You're pathetic. 8,000 millisecond ping time means you're always trying to guess 8 seconds ahead what we're about to do for you to dummy it, right? System UI isn't responding, so I'm not pressing any, but I can't see anymore because there's so many overlays of gray. Keep it up. Every time I look up, every time I look, I can see it freezing up, stupid. Jesus, you're fucking retarded. Remember, about 2,200 times you've done this, bro. Every single time you've responded exactly as we said you would, right after we said you would, which means before the effect of what you did, eh? Like, we can see what you're doing, eh? I don't know what you think you're fucking interrupting or ruining it. See why you would think we would care. So a child molester is too busy to harass children tonight because he's harassing us. Okay, so we don't have a mouse and we don't have a keyboard. Yes, we do. No, we don't. I didn't click nothing yet, dumbass. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep selecting stuff on the screen and tapping and all that weirdo shit. This is how pathological rapists and child molesters are. And most narcissists, pretty much any narcissist, this is how pathological they are. Remember, 3.5 decades, this idiot is still obsessed. No, it's your dumbass obsessed with me. I don't give a fuck what happens to you, stupid. You are fucking retarded. You just spent 5 minutes dumping and it still works. Well, I can do it this way too, so I'm not worried about it. Wow, you're mad. Chomo's mad. Chomo's mad. This is the inside of the mind of a pedophile. The same thing all day. Yeah, keep it up.